Unanimously. Thank you very much, everyone. That concludes our Community Services Committee meeting. Did we do it in under an hour? I hope so. Oh, wow, we did it good. All right, cool. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, all. We'll see you next for our corporate services.
Goodbye.
agenda here for the Corporate Services Committee. Those on this committee are myself as chair and Councillor Kevin O'Toole, Councillor Blackmore, and Mayor Clayton. I don't see us having any delegations here today, so we'll start off with the director's report from Ms. Whiteway.
Thank you, Chair Learners. So just a quick update today from Corporate Services. As it's the month of June, I will give an update on taxation. So a reminder that property taxes are due June 30th. And also just a note that Alberta Land Titles is currently running 3 months behind in updating ownership records. So the tax department did do as much as they could with the local law offices to try and provide notice to any owner who may be affected. But anyone who's recently purchased a property and did not receive their property tax notice should contact the taxation department. And that is it. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions of Ms. Whiteway? Yeah, I'm wondering if there should be some kind of notice. I noticed in a couple towns when I was driving through the other day that they were saying that your taxes are due June 30th. I assume on the website there will be something that's fairly clear about that, or a sign somewhere that clarifies that process, because even I'm under that situation. I wouldn't have known had I had my lawyer not grabbed me by the ear and said, make sure you do this because you're not going to see the title changed for 3 or 4 months, right? So if they could add, is there something on the website?
We have worked with communications to put something out, so we will communicate it to on the website.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Blackmore.
Thank you, Chair Lehner. Speaking of places to look for information, I'm wondering if we use any of the electronic signage in the city to remind people that their taxes are due, and that if they have new property, they need to look after it. I'm asking that because, I don't think the average person just kind of wanders onto our website randomly. They're going to be there for looking for something specific, and quite frankly, if you don't have a reason to look at the website, you could go years without seeing it. So I'm thinking that maybe something more visible would be more appropriate, given the situation, the legal bind we would put people in if they were unaware of taxation changes and unaware of how long it is for land titles right now.
Thank you, Chair Learners. So I will take that feedback away to communications, and to note too, we do do some social media posts as well, so that does help grab the attention of some taxpayers too. But I'll take that feedback back to communications.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions, we'll move along to item 3.2, bylaw C905, City Crest and Trumpeter Swan bylaw and policy 4140. Ms. Karbaschewski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. As indicated in the report before you today, it's been just over 30 years since Council passed bylaw 905 and approved policy 4140, which have established our current city crest and the standing swan symbol that you see on the City of Grande Prairie flag. It is this committee's authority to review the bylaw through our bylaw and policy review and determine if their relevancy is still what it was 30 years ago, and if there's any further action that needs to be taken based on the recommendations within the report. And with that, I'm open to questions.
Any questions of Ms. Karbaschewski? I see Mr. O'Toole.
So I read the report last night, and it says we could probably just accept this report as presented, or we have alternatives. And can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
So with that, there's one there that suggests that we recommend administration to submit an application to the Canadian Heritage Authority for registration of current City of Grande Prairie emblems, including the crest, the city flag, enforcement services crest, and the fire department crest. If we don't do that, what's the results if we don't do it?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Canadian Heraldic Authority is the authority that allows anyone, individuals, businesses, municipalities, to register their emblems. If an emblem isn't registered, despite the length of time that we've been using the city crest and the standing swan bylaw, for example, the standing swan symbol, they're not protected. So what that means is anyone can go ahead and use our crest and our flag, and we don't have any protection against that happening. As very long-standing brands of the City of Grande Prairie, it would be administration's recommendation to protect those symbols if in fact council still feels they're relevant. We do have the City of Grande Prairie logo, the new one that was registered with Trademarks Act of Canada, and it is an official symbol that is protected under the current registration, and it will exist forever as the City of Grande Prairie's registered brand, unless, again, council chooses to make a change.
Okay, I just got a couple more here. There's a cost of approximately $40,000 to cover all of that in the report.
Thank you. Through the chair. The fees that were listed in the report in the amount of $40,000 would allow for all current brands to be registered.
Okay. Well, I'd be willing to make that motion to do something like that, but I'd like to hear other committee members, council members express their concerns.
Councillor Blackmore.
I would support this motion. I think even if the time comes when the crest is, or the flag, or any of our heraldic symbols are changed or adapted, we still need to protect what we've had in the past, because right now anyone can use them for good and negative purposes. So I don't think any of us would probably object to good purposes, but negative purposes would be something else entirely. So I would definitely support this motion.
Yeah, Councillor O'Connor.
Yes, thank you, Chair Laners. I agree. You have to protect your brand, and it can easily happen where somebody can hijack it and use it for any purpose, include if they want to use it to run their business, saying that the swan is ours. So I think we have to protect it. Thank you.
Councillor Pressy.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I agree with a lot of that's being said. A really technical question that maybe you don't have an answer to, and if okay, I'm okay just having this in administrator's pocket. But something that I learned last week is we're supposed to change that crown on the enforcement services crest if we get a new monarch, and if we register that symbol now and we get a new monarch in the not too distant future, is there an issue re-registering one of these in too short a time period?
Thank you. Through the chair. The issue isn't whether or not we can register again. We absolutely can. We can make any change that we need to. It's just the length of time that it takes to get registration is something that needs to be considered. And again, council can have that discussion whether or not they want to register any or just a few of the current symbols that we have, with the intent that perhaps sooner than we expect, we may need to make a change.
Great, thank you.
Any other further questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll entertain that motion, Mr. O'Toole.
We'll get them made and then we'll sell them as collector's item for 5 times the price. I move that committee recommend council direct administration to submit an application to the Canadian Heritage authority for the registration of current council or city of Grande Prairie emblems, including the city crest, the city flag, enforcement services, as well as the Grande Prairie Fire Department crest.
That's in order. Speaking, Councillor O'Connor.
From what I heard, all the emblems are going to be protected. Is that not correct, Ms. Garbashewski?
Thank you. Through the chair, the direction to administration motion will allow administration to pursue the registration of the 4 emblems indicated in the motion. There could be a subsequent motion from committee to recommend council direct administration to do something else with the rest. For example, to register them with the Trademarks Act of Canada.
And supplement then? Do you recommend that? I'm not hearing that in the initial recommendation. I think it's important that we protect our symbols. If somebody takes that, like, is it important to have the Montrose and the bonnets and vests? Like, do you need protection on all of them or not?
So thank you through the chair. As indicated in the report, the rest of the branding that currently exists today is not protected. It is something that could be protected through the Trademarks Act of Canada at a cost. So council would have to consider the cost.
Okay, so did you want to speak further?
No, I'm good. I think if there's some more work to be done by the costing and all that, we can deal with that at that council meeting.
Yeah, I think at the present time, the 4 that we have already, those are the ones that are kind of the ones of significance, and some of those other ones they change and they're pretty flexible anyway. So not all that worried about it. We haven't had anybody do it in the last 40 years. I don't imagine there's a big rush to steal our stuff right away here. So
Exactly.
I think we'll probably be fine. So we have the motion up on the screen.
Mayor Clayton votes in favor.
Thank you. Okay, and that's carried 4-0. So I trust you'll be back in another 40 years to reflect again on our logo.
Thank you through the chair. Absolutely not, but thank you.
Okay. The next, here, get back to my yeah, always when I jump around here. Takes me a second, sorry, my apologies. Okay, so the next thing we have on our agenda is the Council Code of Conduct Bylaw C-1384. And again, Ms. Garbashewski, lead us through that process, please.
So thank you, Mr. Chair. The City's Council Code of Conduct Bylaw is due for a formal review pursuant to its own Section 91 under this bylaw. The review is timely at present because it does preclude a request from Municipal Affairs for elected officials in the province to respond to a survey that will help the province determine if amendments are needed to the current Municipal Government Act to enhance accountability and public trust in local elected officials. So as indicated in the report before you today, administration has included some options for recommendations for committee to consider recommending to council. And with that, I'm open for questions.
Any questions of Ms. Garbashewski? I have one. So if they're doing a survey and the survey results in something substantive, i.e. they want to make some changes, is it prudent for us to do this now, or should we wait 6 to 8 months or 9 months for those provisions to be enacted so that we can accommodate those, or do we have to do this on a regular basis, i.e. yearly, or is it just once per term that we delve into this? Because I see it was last done in 19. So just curious as to some timelines and maybe some logistics of what's appropriate.
Thank you, through the chair. It's timely for this council to have this discussion now. The survey is available on the province of Alberta's website and can be filled out. It's 2 questions that can be filled out individually by council member, or if you so choose to have administration respond on the behalf of the council. I can take your discussion and your questions, and I can respond on your behalf. The deadline for that survey is June 14th. So we are, as a council, you are required to review your council code of conduct once per term. Indicated in the bylaw, it is to take place within the first and second year of your term. And so we're hitting these necessities by having this discussion today and then furthering the discussion at the next council meeting.
Councillor Blackmore.
I currently don't have any issues or I don't desire any changes to our current code of conduct. Your report's asking for us to receive this for information as your primary recommendation. And I'm thinking that if we receive it for information and we need to make changes subsequently in 6 to 8 months, nothing, there's no right or wrong about that. We'll just simply do it. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm happy to make a motion to receive the report for information today.
Councillor Bressy.
I'm just curious if I could have my mind refreshed. Sorry if I missed something here, but does committee just receiving this report for information, does that meet our requirements to review the code under the Act, or does this have to go to council so that we could say, yeah, council's checked the box and reviewed this?
Thank you, through the chair. This committee has the authority to review bylaw and council policy pursuant to the bylaw and policy review policy for the city. So this committee has been delegated that authority. If you so choose to have the discussion at council, you are welcome to.
Okay, that was good. Do you want to follow up?
Yeah. Maybe come back to me. I want to look up something.
Someone else had their hand up over there. Councillor O'Connor, I think.
In reading this, I felt that they want us to make a decision before June 14th. Am I not correct?
Thank you, through the chair. So to be clear, the committee has the authority to review the council code of conduct bylaw. Should there be any changes required to this bylaw, the committee would recommend council give 3 readings to a bylaw amendment and or direct administration to bring forward amendments to the bylaw for your consideration. It is council's authority to pass the amendments. The recommendations in the report today are to just have a review and
Fire mic?
hold the
Obviously.
discussion.
Holy cow.
Sorry about that. Please continue.
It's up to this committee to just hold the discussion. As a committee, you get to do the review. Individual council members can respond to the survey. The link is in the report. The discussion just has to be held at this level.
So I'm seeing it seems pretty clear that unless we're going to ask for some changes, we can do it here, and everybody fill out the report. And if in a year from now we want to do something else, we can do something else. Mr. Bressy, Councillor Bressy.
Yeah, thank you. I know for me, the one change that I would love to advocate for is, last time I looked at the city website, it's still very difficult to make a code of conduct complaint against a councillor. It's easy to make a whistleblower complaint against staff, but it's not so clear on how to make a whistleblower complaint against a councillor. And I don't think that's an issue with the bylaw, I don't think the bylaw needs to be changed for that, but just something operationally that I think we should change is, should be just as easy to call foul on us. In fact, it should probably be easier to call foul on us than it is to call foul on a member of staff.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Blackmore.
Just in response to Councillor Bressy's concerns, that's a procedural matter rather than what would be written in the conduct itself, correct? Like, I don't see a change to the Code of Conduct bylaw.
If I may, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I don't think that's a change to the bylaw, but it's direction that it's something that I've been advocating for a couple of years, and at some point it hasn't happened yet. And I think at some point it might be appropriate for council to give direction on what we expect for processes to call whistleblower for us. So I don't know if it's a change to the bylaw that needs to happen, but it's something that I'd personally love to see council make sure happens, is it's easy to call a code of conduct complaint on us. So now seems a relevant time to talk about that since we're talking about the code of conduct.
Okay, thank you for that. So that's duly noted. So can I get a motion? Do we have a motion already? Yeah, we have a motion already. So I will call the motion.
Mayor Clayton in favor.
Thank you for that. And that is carried 4-0. Thank you for that, Ms. Garbaszewski. Oh, sure.
So, in addressing Councillor Bressy's concerns about the inability or the barriers for people to call council's conduct into question, can we give you that as simply a direction to maybe look at procedural process? That's like saying procedure twice in a row. And maybe come back to us at a later time with some options, or just simply deal with it. I'm not sure what you'd like to see, and I guess Ms. Whiteway might have an opinion. I kind of put you on the spot there, right?
Thank you. Through the chair, the direction to administration to improve accessibility for the public to be able to file a complaint against a council member, it can be a direction to administration informally, and we will action that accordingly. I don't think you need to have a report back. I think you just need to see something better represented on our website.
I'd concur with that.
And I think Councillor Bosch had something that.
Thank you, Chair Laners. I guess I'm a little bit surprised because I don't find that it is hard to access the mayor or the city manager. Everybody's email is on the sites and easy to access. If there was an issue with someone, send an email, and that starts the process. I don't think anybody would take any complaint of that significance unseriously. So I'm not sure that this is really an issue. In my opinion, like, it's easy to access everyone. I don't see it difficult to access the mayor or other council or the city manager or, anyone.
Councillor Bressy.
Chair Lanners, can I get in the queue when you have a minute?
Yes.
Yeah, and just to share personal experience, what happens is, okay, I've had members of the public call me out and say, "Hey, you're acting on a member, you're voting on a matter you shouldn't vote on," and I strongly believe that I had the right to vote on that matter. And this hasn't happened once, twice. It's happened many times. And my response when I get accused of wrongdoing is, I want to be accountable to the public. And my response is, hey, please, this is why I think I'm in the right. But if you think I've acted in the wrong, please make a formal complaint. And I welcome accountability. I welcome looking into that. And it's really awkward when I have to. And I think it would be far more transparent for me to say, hey, here's a form on the website you can fill out, and here's a transparent process that's easy for you to access. I'd rather say that than, I think the way you make a complaint on me is you call in and you talk to our legislative services clerk, who, she's really nice, her name's Arlene, just trust me, but you don't know her. And I just think that I would be more accountable to residents if I could say, if you've got a problem with me and you think I've breached our code of conduct, here's the easy form to do it. That's what we do with employees. I don't see why we wouldn't do the same thing with councillors.
Councillor or Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Chair Lenners. Similar to Councillor Bressy's comments, I think that it's appropriate that the process is simple. It's not about accessibility. It's about being able to do it relatively discreetly. This isn't a whistleblower complaint, but discreetly and easily so that it doesn't become cumbersome and somebody feeling that, you know, they're going to call the mayor to ask how to make a complaint about one of her colleagues. And so I just think it's about ease of access for concerns in that matter.
Okay, it seems like we have a moderate consensus. And sitting beside Councillor Bressy, I've witnessed many times when he's run afoul. So anyway, so
For the record,
take that
John,
for
I hear
information.
that, and I'll take action.
Anyway, with that, I think we're done with Ms. Karwaszewski. Being once, twice. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, looking at correspondence, don't see any other business. Don't see any bylaw. We just did some of that. Outstanding items list. There aren't any items on there, so I don't know. Do we still approve a list that's got nothing on it? I don't think so. It doesn't make any sense. That's just silliness. Okay, so with that in mind, I will call this meeting adjourned.